Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to be looking at a previous beach find where I found something absolutely mind-blowing. A huge string of Ichthyosaur vertebrae. Afterwards I'm going to be showing some of my recent bone finds that I've had cut and polished. Wait till you see how they've turned out. This is going to be a really good video if you like fossilised bone discoveries, so stick around. Hi everyone, so today I'm going to attempt to do a little bit of prep work on them huge Ichthyosaur verts that I found. So I've just found something really good, so I wanted to make sure I got it on video as a little clip. Scouting along, and I've come across this block containing these 5 huge Ichthyosaur vertebrae. The rock itself is well pyrotised, which is probably why it's kept together for so long. But I'm gonna have to somehow get this back home now. It's gonna be a little bit of a different, interesting one to prep because of the size of the rock. It won't fit in my prepping cabinet, so I'm gonna have to bring my air compressor outside and prep in the fresh air. So the tools I'll be using to prep this will be the Zoic T-Rex with the chisel tip. That's my most powerful pen that I've got. Once I've got all of this rock off, I'll be able to fit it into my air cabinet and then give it a good blast with aluminium oxide, which should remove a bit of the staining and make it a little bit more presentable. So let's crack on with the fossil prep. One of the most common methods for preparing fossils is using air scribes, which is also my preferred technique. These tools connect to a large air compressor and function like mini jackhammers, gradually chipping away small pieces of rock. There are various types of air scribes available for purchase. Some are designed for large matrix removal, like the pen I'm currently using now, while others are intended for more intricate and detailed work. It really just depends on the actual fossil and the matrix that you're working on. I'm going to attempt is to get this big chisel in here, and even though the rock is very hard, I'm hoping I'll be able to save myself a bit of prep time. All I want is these 5 vertebrae. I'm not bothered about these bones here because they are just so worn. That's how I want to display them. It'll be nice just to have the bones rather than the worn ribs. Now this was a bit of a nail-biting moment for me. It could have gone terribly wrong and just split straight through the verts. Thankfully, we had a little bit of luck on our side. Oh, it's come off. Oh, look at that rib fragment there. That's kind of cool. I'll keep that. I successfully retrieved 2 rib bone fragments from this specimen, and I've put them up for sale on buyafossil.com. So if you are interested in owning a small piece of this stunning Ichthyosaur, you can find them available there. Each fragment comes in a lovely display box and includes a label. How it's broken. So let's see. Oh, that saved a lot of time. Hi everyone, so a little bit of an update on them verts. I did do a little bit more preparation on them about a week ago. So this will probably be the last time that I see these verts for a little while until I get them back from Mark Hawks. But let's take a quick look at them. I'll share the prepared fossil once it's had a better clean up by Mark Hawks at Stone Treasures. So as you can see, I've removed the bulk of the matrix myself, which has saved a hell of a lot of prep time. But I'm going to send it away to Mark just to give it that final finishing touch. He always does a really good job. The huge bone block is now totally finished. Let's take a look at the finished result. Mark Hawks has done a fantastic job at cleaning it to make it the best it can be. So you can see how big the verts still are. They're contained within this box here, and they still weigh a lot. The heaviest bone find that I've had. It's surprising how much they actually weigh. Just to show you a bit of a comparison, is 4 beautiful crisp Ichthyosaur vertebrae that I found a number of years ago. And wow, these are pretty average for the size that I find. Not too small, but not too big either. Let's compare them to the new find, my new biggest Ichthyosaur bone find. The Ichthyosaur these bones came from must have been an absolute beast. Here's the smaller vertebra, and you can see what a crazy size these bones actually are. So these are the neural arches, or where the neural arches would have been attached. So these are the top of the bones that you can see on here. When you consider how big these 5 vertebrae actually are, it's an amazing thought to think what the skull and the paddle must have been. I wonder if anyone would be able to recover that off the beach. It might take a few trips. So overall, a huge bone find that had probably been wearing out on the seabed for God knows how many years, and I managed to save it, get it off the beach, clear it up a little bit, and then Mark has done a fantastic job at finishing it off for me. Beautiful piece of natural history, preserved and saved before it inevitably got destroyed by the sea. Now we're going to go ahead and look at some other bones that I've had cut and polished. Hopefully you enjoy this. All of these lovely cut and polished marine reptile bone fossils will be coming to the website over the next few months, buyafossil.com. If you see something you like, please remember it and look out for it. It'll be on the website very soon. So for the first bone block, I actually managed to get 6 slices out of it, all individual interesting little fragment bits. I actually think there's a paddle digit and a few skull elements contained within this block, all sliced individually. On the back of the rock you can see a few interesting bones as well. Let's take a close up at some of the rocks. They've all been polished to a gem-like finish, all of these beautiful pieces. Mark Hawkes did all the polishing work. I usually send my bits to be polished to him because of the fantastic finish that he manages to achieve on them. When you look closely at these pieces, you see the fantastic detail that cut and polishing manages to bring out of the bone texture. This is the very next one that we're going to be looking at. And inside, some beautiful ribs that have been cut and polished. I believe this and then the next block are going to be connected because I found them at the same spot. They look very similar, the bone detail. And there's also a really interesting little feature that I'm going to explain in just a minute. So another really interesting thing that these blocks have is these little black speckles in between the bones. Hopefully you can make them out, and I believe that they are actually stomach contents. I'd have to get that confirmed, but that's what I believe they are. Little squiddy bits and fishy bits. I've had a few other pieces like this in the past and that's what they were, so I think that's what this one is as well. Quite a rare occurrence to have stomach contents if that's what they are. So a very similar block again, found at the exact same spot with the exact same bone preservation. I found it a week or 2 apart if I remember correctly. And the same as the last bone block that I had cut and polished. If you look closely you'll see the black squiddy bits. I believe this was the remains of the animal's last meal. Let me know what you think in the comments. Moving on to the next bit. We've got 4 pieces out of it. Nice black looking bone. I actually picked this piece up at Robin Hood's Bay. I suspect it washed from further round, Horsker maybe. But inside there's lovely pieces of ribs cut and polished out of it. Let's take a look at some of the other pieces. There's actually a lot more bone on the outside of the nodule. Moving on to the next one. So there were quite a few interesting bones on the back of this fossil before I had it cut and polished. Opening it up, you can see multiple more bones trapped within. Quite a few interesting looking Ichthyosaur bones. This particular piece was from Sands End, that's where I found it at. This piece has a number of interesting little bones washed up in it. Not sure exactly what the bones are, apart from being Ichthyosaur. I know this because there was a distinctive vertebra on the back. Now we're going to have a look at the last, but my personal favourite of these cut and polished pieces. This would have been part of a large bone block at one point, quite large bones inside it as well, but it polished up beautifully in the cross section where it's been cut and polished. You can see a vertebra, a rib, and actually part of a limb bone. A really unique and one-off fossil piece. The bone itself has beautiful detail and there's a little bit of calcite preserved in between the vertebrae. This one was my personal favourite of the lot. That's everything for today's video. Hopefully you've all enjoyed it, and if you'd like to see more of these fossil unboxing type videos, please leave a comment.